Hello and thank you so much for joining us on Business Now, where we share details of financial happenings in the past week with you. My name is Chinaemerem Joseph. Welcome. Now, the total funds raised by the private sector coalition against COVID-19 rose to 27.2 billion naira as at the end of April 23, 2020. This was disclosed by the Director, Corporate Communications of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Isaac Okorafor. Donors into the fund include both corporate and private individuals who are expected to raise about 120 billion naira to curb the coronavirus pandemic in the country. And in the oil and gas industry, where despite supply chain constraints involved in simultaneous nationwide delivery and distribution of medical items at this period, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation-led industry coalition against COVID-19 is determined to extend its intervention to all states of the Federation, with Abuja, Rivers and states in the southwest having benefited from the initiative. Various medical items were part of the 21 billion naira intervention initiative by the oil and gas industry, with hope that they would go a long way in stemming the spread of the pandemic. The NNPC Group Managing Director, Mele Kyari, has also hinted that the industry is planning to build permanent and sustainable medical infrastructure in each of the nation's geopolitical zones. These and more are some of the interventions from, of course, the business and energy sectors to help manage the pandemic. So many other issues also came up, and we will be sharing details with you after this break. To join us again. Thank you so much for joining us again. Let's now share some business stories with you. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, has said that the near-term economic impact of COVID-19 on Nigeria is expected to be severe, while already high downside risks have increased. It said this while approving $3.4 billion in emergency financial assistance under the Rapid Financing Instrument to support Nigeria's efforts in addressing the severe economic impact of the COVID-19 shock and the sharp fall in oil prices. Now, according to the IMF, the COVID-19 outbreak has magnified existing vulnerabilities, leading to a historic contraction in real GDP growth and to a large external and fiscal financing needs. Once the impact of the COVID-19 shock passes, the authorities' commitment to medium-term macroeconomic stability remains crucial to support the recovery and ensure debt remains sustainable. And then the federal government says it has disbursed 43.41 billion naira to 24 states under the performance-based grant component of the World Bank Assisted States Fiscal Transparency, Accountability and Sustainability Program for results. The Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, said this in a statement. The SFTAS is a $750 million program to reward states for meeting any or all of the 9 indicators that demonstrate improvements in fiscal transparency, accountability and sustainability. The 9 indicators are an offshoot of the previous fiscal sustainability plan of the federal government, where states were to be rewarded for meeting up to 22 targets. Now, the finance minister said while 24 states met the criteria, others failed to publish their annual budgets. She added that Kaduna State achieved the highest number of results and got the highest share with $11 million, while Katsina and Benue states got the lowest amount of $1.5 million each. Further breakdown showed that Abia State got $4.8 million, Adamawa State had $3 million, Bauchi $6.3 million, Delta $4.5 million, Edo $6 million, Ekiti $2.8 million, Enugu State had $4 million, and Gombe had $6.8 million. Now, others are Jigawa State, who got $5.5 million, Kano got $2 million, Kebbi had $2.5 million, Kogi State got $8.8 million, Kwara had $5 million, Niger had $8 million, Ondo had $7.8 million, Ogun State got $3 million, Oyo State $4.5 million, Osun $6 million, Sokoto $2.5 million, Taraba $6.5 million, and Yobe State got $6.3 million. The statement also gave the 12 states that missed out on the 2018 grants because they did not meet the eligibility criteria. And the states are Akwa Ibom, Anambra, Bayelsa, Borno, Cross River, Ebonyi, Imo, Lagos, Nasarawa, Plateau, Rivers, and Zamfara states. Now, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has said that providing support to small businesses in the informal sector should be a priority for all economies, aiming at lessening any adverse effect of the pandemic on the economy. The Vice President Osinbajo said this at a virtual conference entitled How Africa's Informal Sector Reacts to COVID-19. And besides the Vice President, others who spoke at the webinar were President Nana Akufo-Addo of Ghana, Governor Nasir El-Rufai of Kaduna State, Ahmed Musfik Mubarak, Professor of Economics in Yale University, and Amandla Oko Ombaka, Senior Engagement Manager for the private firm, Mr. Hakeem Bello Sagie, a Harvard Business School Senior Lecturer of Business Administration, and Teresa Clark, the CEO of Africa.com, moderated the discussions with participation by several thousands who signed in across the world. And moving on now, the collapse in the U.S. economy caused by the coronavirus pandemic triggered the biggest drop in gross domestic product in the first quarter since 2008, in a prelude of an even more massive decline in the spring. GDP, the official scorecard for the economy, shrank at 4.8% annual pace from the beginning of January to the end of March. Now, economists polled by MarketWatch had forecast a 3.9% decrease. The worldwide spread of the coronavirus began to nip at the edges of the U.S. economy early in the quarter before exploding in March into the biggest crisis since the Great Depression some 90 years ago. The economy is likely to contract by 25% or more in the second quarter, with some forecasts putting the decline at a record 40%. And back home, the Central Bank of Nigeria has resumed the sale of dollars to small and medium enterprises, as well as for school fees. The bank, in a statement signed by its head of corporate communications, Isaac Okorafor, said in view of the gradual easing of the COVID-19 lockdown, both globally and in Nigeria, the Apex Bank has resumed provision of foreign exchange to all commercial banks for onward sales to parents wishing to pay school fees and small businesses wishing to make essential imports needed to revamp economic activities across the country. The CBN has also made complete arrangements to resume foreign exchange sales to the BDC segment of the market for business travels, personal travels, and other designated retail uses as soon as international flights resume. And then, in light of the COVID-19 pandemic, the African Export-Import Bank, Afreximbank, the African Union, and also the government of Rwanda have decided to postpone by 1 year the second Intra-African Trade Fair, initially set to take place from the 1st to 7th of September 2020 in Kigali, Rwanda. This decision was endorsed by the IATF 2020 Advisory Council during its 6th meeting held virtually on the 26th of April 2020 after careful assessment of the pandemic. The event is now scheduled to take place from the 6th to the 12th of September 2021 in Kigali. Afreximbank President Professor Benedict Orama said that the continuing COVID-19 pandemic situation was not conducive to holding such an important Pan-African event, which was initially scheduled to take place in just 4 months. And to the oil and gas industry now, where Nigeria's refineries started their 2020 financial year with losses as they posted a cumulative operational deficit of 9.6 billion naira in January. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation manages the country's 3 refineries, which are the Kaduna Refining and Petrochemical Company, the Port Harcourt Refining Company, and the Warri Refining and Petrochemical Company. Now, latest figures on the financial performance of the facilities obtained from the NNPC in Abuja showed that the deficits recorded by the refineries in most of the months of 2019 lingered till January 2020. The expenses of each of the refineries outweighed their revenues, thereby resulting in the losses. The Group Managing Director of NNPC, Mele Kyari, recently stated that the corporation would no longer be involved in the management of refineries after their rehabilitation. Mr. Kyari had stated that upon completion of the ongoing rehabilitation exercise, the services of a company would be procured to manage the plants on an operations and maintenance basis. Meanwhile, Nigeria has revised down its crude oil export program for May and June to align itself with the global production cut deal led by the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. OPEC and its allies agreed in the month of April to cut their combined output by 9.7 million barrels per day, or 23% each in May and June, from an agreed baseline. The international oil price, Brent crude, rose by $2.13 to $22.59 per barrel as at Wednesday night. And that's all we'll be taking from the newsroom for now. We'll go on a break, and when we return, we will continue with excerpts from the consultative roundtable organized by the Central Bank of Nigeria with stakeholders from various sectors on how to grow the nation's economy. Please to join us again. Glad to know you're still there. Let's move on now. Business tycoons, economists, and Nigerian ministers were part of a consultative roundtable organized by the Central Bank of Nigeria some weeks ago. The event, which was themed Going for Growth, has been adjudged timely considering happenings in the nation's economy. Now, participants at the event called for more seriousness in handling issues around diversifying the economy as countries around the world grapple with crippling economies as a result of the pandemic.
We didn't ever think the price of crude oil would go to as low as $30 per barrel. So it came to us as a great surprise. These are very, very strong headwinds, and these headwinds reinforce the wake-up call for us as a country to look towards a life without oil. And the time to do that is now. But for all of us in this room, we have a responsibility to make sure that we don't spread panic, that we don't allow speculation, because that is what triggers a spiral which will not be in the favor of our country. We need to all put our hands together to weather this storm. This is not something that government can do alone, nor is this something that the private sector can do alone. It has to be a partnership, a very strong one. We need to work together to take the opportunities that this same crisis has provided for us. For us in government, there are some measures that we need to take, which we have not taken, and this is the right time to take those measures. We're working as a government to strengthen our macroeconomic fundamentals, which some sectors of the economy were already weak before the crisis, so the crisis is only exacerbating the situation, and we knew about that. And we're working at dimensioning each sector and fashioning out and prioritizing the sectors, how best to provide fiscal incentives for the sectors to grow. There is no doubt that the combination of the crude oil price crash and the coronavirus has put a very significant strain on the national budget, also on foreign exchange and also on many sectors. So we have been formed into a team, as said earlier by the CBN governor, by the president, to review what is the impact of the crisis on the national budget and also on various sectors of the economy, and to provide recommendations on how we can raise the revenue from the non-oil sector, block leakages, pull back whatever we have been doing that is not necessary, defer some actions and prioritize and fast-track others. We also, despite the increased dwindling revenue, need to still find ways to increase spending in critical sectors like major infrastructure projects, but also in health and in education. We have to also continuously work to enhance the ease of doing business. We are currently working to enhance the function, the trade facilitation function of the Nigerian Customs Service. We are working on an e-customs project that will soon be going for approval. And part of the e-customs project is to set up a national single trading platform that will enhance trade facilitation, ease the business of imports and exports into our country. We know that the major function of customs is not to generate revenue, it is to facilitate trade. We're trying to work towards doing that. The Ministry of Finance also has realized that we need to do something special to be able to mobilize domestic savings. We have reached out to the private sector and some key government agencies, and we're setting up a national savings planning committee, savings committee, that is going to come up with a national savings policy. The essence for us is to have policy instruments that would guide the development of special instruments in the Nigerian capital market to enable large investors like pension funds that have patient capital, but also retail investors, so that we have every Nigerian being able to save with ease and have a variety of instruments that can be traded in the capital market. We have done a number of things that is meant to enhance business. We passed the finance bill. We made some legal provisions in that finance bill to drive and deepen the Nigerian capital market. We have introduced or reinforced the provisions on the real estate investment trust scheme. We've also made provisions to allow for securities lending. We've also been able to zero taxes for the smallest businesses, so that businesses that have turnover of 25 million and below will not have to pay any company income tax. We've also reduced taxes for medium-sized businesses that have turnover of 25 million to 100 million. We reduced their company income tax from 30% to 20%. Why did we do this? We did this so that these businesses can grow, they will increase their productivity, employ people, and at the end of the day, they will be able to pay more taxes further down the road. We also have made some amendments in our fiscal laws to enhance equity, especially for the insurance industry. But we believe that that enhancement will also benefit the financial services. We have made some adjustment to block leakages, especially in respect of transfer pricing, and to capture taxes from digital economy, which is not being taxed at all. There are quite a number of provisions that are meant to drive financial inclusion, to encourage informal businesses to become formal, to grow their businesses, so that when we have a growth, the kind of growth we desire is a growth that is broad-based and it is inclusive. I want to say that I wish I was going to stay throughout this session today, but I must apologize because we have FEC today. And I have two major papers at FEC. Fashola is looking at me. And I've seen the excellent selection of participants. I must congratulate the Central Bank for this second diet of this very important forum. I wish I was staying through the day to listen to all the discussions and gather the messages that you will be sending to government. But because we will not be here, I can only say that we're looking forward to the outcome of this program, because the outcome of this program will be taken by the committee that myself and the Central Bank Governor and GMD and MPC Minister of Petroleum Resources are participating in. We will take the outcome of this program as inputs into the advice that will give His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari.
I've had a lot of diversification, and I just said, what are we really doing? So I'm going to start with that thing next to Aliko, that sanitizer. You know, I'm taking time to read it when I can read it, because I washed my hands with soap and water before I got here. And they gave me this thing, and I didn't want to break rules, so I used it at 2 points. But something told me that we were all probably doing the wrong thing. The first thing is that that thing is a bacterial sanitizer. We're dealing with a virus. And it's important to make it so. We're dealing with a virus. And so, before we rush off in a home, the thing there is, we must not panic. That's the message there. We must not panic. And we must know what it is we are up against. And constructively then engage it. Because if this capital here, this human capital here, constructively engages these tough times, we will defeat it. So, the second point is that I notice it's made of berry and alcohol. And I know that berry, whether it's raspberry or whatever, grows wild on the plateau in Jos. Wild. And this is important because that thing was made in China. The other component of it is alcohol. So why is our ogogoro illicit? No, I have a very serious point. I did not override this point, please. Why is our ogogoro illicit? And golden gin and rum and snap are not illicit. But they contain the same basic chemical component of alcohol. And I say therefore, why are our MSMEs and industries not already producing these sanitizers for us to use in Nigeria if we really need? So these for me are the opportunities here. On one of our construction sites, as he has pointed out, not only is manpower from China, where we're using Exim loads, finding it difficult to return, equipment is finding it difficult to come in. So one of the things I said, there are people, local people here who have trucks. Employ the trucks, put your Chinese label on it, and let local people also benefit. My closing story, therefore, is that this is a fine hour for us to introspect and turn this around for our own benefit. Thank you very much.
Let's now bring you some graphic details of business transactions within the country. Okay, it's here we wrap it up on Business Now. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to join us same time next week. My name is Chinaemerem Joseph. Bye for now.